Hello, beautiful people. Are you sick? That's the big question today. And have you been going to doctor and doctor? And I think I am doing this also because I had the chance to talk with some women that have gone through breast cancer. And the first thing that they did following doctor's orders was to remove both breasts.
Mhm.
But then the cancer came up again. So could be then that really is not about the body, but it will be your soul speaking to you. And the big question is, are you listening? Are
Mhm.
we listening? And is our body screaming today? Because there is so many people going through something. So I have the pleasure today to have the right person to help us answer this question and digest all the information that we got from the other side about this. And here it is. I have the honor to have Julia Cannon. And wow, what a beautiful message you brought to the world. Thank you
Oh,
so much. And poof, thank you for this opportunity. And we are going to start by asking you, what do you think? Is our soul speaking, or is just like so many things are damaging our bodies today?
yeah. I mean, it's really easy. No, it's definitely our soul speaking. But I mean, I can go into these other parts. It's really easy, and we're told all the time by the media that we have all of these other things happening, and that's what's causing all of this stuff. But it actually goes deeper than that because not everybody who is exposed to the same thing has the same thing happening, and that's what you have to look at. When you experiment, you have to get everything the same, and is everybody having the same reaction? Then you could say without a doubt, yes, this causes this, but
Mhm.
that's not the case. And so that's where you have to go deeper. And what I found, because I have a medical background, I was a nurse, I love, love, love the body. And so this really resonated with me when I started getting this information was that there's more to it,
Mhm.
especially when you see people, like you're saying, your friend, they take the action that is supposed to fix it, we're going to cut it out, that'll be the end of it, but then it doesn't.
Mhm.
It comes back somewhere else, or it just keeps roaming around, and that's because we didn't get to the core of it. We didn't get to the bottom of it, what it's trying to say. Our bodies are talking to us all the time. It's a wonderful messenger. Ugh, I can't talk. The wonderful messenger. Our higher selves, our guides. We have a guidance team with us our whole lives. They are always trying to communicate with us, and that's one of the ways that they do it is through our bodies. So
Mhm.
that's where it's like, well, let's see what our bodies are trying to tell us. We can just look at it that way. And
I know.
yes, they're trying to say something. And when they get to cancer or some of these things, they're screaming, they're yelling really loud. So it's like,
No, I love. There is two things that I love from your book. There is a lot of things that I love from your book, but two things that I think are very important. One is that the difference from other books is not just that we are going to find like, okay, your arm, because people ask, and what is my eye? What is my arm? But it's like, why
yeah.
is this happening, right? Going deeper than that, just the symptoms that other books, like the beautiful book that I read 30 years ago from Louise Hay, was already talking about this, but it was more that, like this part of your body signifies this. You went deeper than that. You went
Okay.
to the place that, okay, there is a system they are coming to tell you. But
Mhm.
then the big question comes in, how can we get in communication with them? How can we listen the messages?
Well, exactly. And that's why our bodies are being used is because we don't believe we can get the
Mm.
messages. I mean, we can actually listen to our guides. We can actually hear them. But
Mm.
if we don't believe that we can, and many of us don't, it's like, oh, no, 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 we don't even believe we're part of anything. So that's number one. You got to believe that you have a guidance team, you have guides, and then you want to believe that you can hear them. But if you don't, it's like, no, no, it just doesn't work for me. I mean, a lot of people just, that's their situation. I can't hear them. No, 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 doesn't happen. Well, then, and I'll show you, there's a lot of ways that they speak to us. It's
Mhm.
not just hearing, but if you don't hear them, which you can, then it'll be some other way. And we can go into that, all the different ways that they talk to us
Mm.
before. going to the body. The body, I feel like, is the last resort. It's like, you're not listening any other way. We're going to get your attention with something that you will listen to. You will pay attention. And that's the body.
How was for you? Because reading your book, I learned that it had to. You said that you have a very strong personality, so it took them a lot for you to hear, right? Will you tell us that story?
A lot of, yeah. I mean, I could, it took, I mean, it's funny how it works with different people. Um, but I've heard several people have told me a similar story about like what I had, where I guess I was just starting to wake up. I don't know. It's just funny how, you know, we go through our different processes and things. But I was driving and I'm thinking about something, and I was like asking myself a question. It's like I'm just thinking, and all of a sudden I hear like a voice from the back seat of the car giving me the answer, and I'm like, what? And I think that was like the first breakthrough. And
Mhm.
sometimes it'll be like that. It might come even like a shout, because I feel like they're trying so hard, and I see them. I can sense all these things now. And sometimes I'll be working with someone and I can actually see them like next to the person yelling because they're trying to get through so bad. And I think that's what they were doing. And so sometimes the initial messages will be like a shouting. Like in
Mhm.
my case, it was a shouting from the back seat of the car because they're trying so hard. And then, but that was, see, I acknowledge it. And I turned around. I'm like, what the heck? It got through, and then I'm like, oh shoot, this is we're onto something. This is actually real. So see, that was my opening up. So
Yeah,
that's why
but also
like,
life, right? Like
hmm?
things that can happen, like also life things that can happen, right? Like sometimes your life has to really fall down before you can, because
Oh my gosh, yeah.
yeah,
That's sometimes, and that's where you look at things like that was happening before my life fell apart. So it's like these are all parts, they're all steps. So it's like, I want to say if your life falls apart, fantastic. You're on the right track.
it just happened with me. So, and that brought
Okay,
me
there
to
we go.
QHHT, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that because that's when you get when your life falls apart, you have no place to go but up. Two, you kind of just let go of everything. You surrender. And I feel like that's a huge part of this. You get to that place where you just release all those things that we hold on to that hold us back. We just let it all go. And it's like, yeah,
All the
whatever. What you
fear,
gonna
right?
do?
Yeah.
And then it all shifts and it starts moving, and look at you. You come out, woo.
But I
uh,
love when you talk about that in your book, when you talk about fear, because it's like you are saying right now, all the things that you are holding because you are in fear. If that falls, what's going to happen, right? And
exactly.
the moment that everything that you fear so much, it really happened, and you are still there.
Yeah, you're
So,
still there. And that's what it was showing me. It was like everything was gone. And I'm like, well, and that's what it was showing me. It's like, yeah, but you're not gone. You're still there. Your family's still there. The main pieces are still there. And that's what you rely on. So it was like showing you what your core is. This is the main thing. And this is all you ever need to rely on. All the other stuff was stuff. It was just possessions. It was that, and those come and go all the time. So it's just showing you this is who you really are. It's you. And this is your foundation. This is where you start. This is where you build everything. You will never lose that. Like
ooh,
you can lose everything. You will never lose you.
I want to stay
And
with
that's
that
the
for a
big deal
second.
because I think, we hold on to that thinking that the other stuff is who we are. And this is how we find out, no, this is it. It tears it all away. You're ripped down to the shreds. I mean, whatever, it's all to the very bottom. But you always have that left. That will never be gone.
That's so beautiful. It's like I'm trying to take it in while you
Yeah.
speak because
Well,
it's
yeah, I mean, it's like some people are like, oh my gosh, that'd be horrible. But
yeah.
there's comfort there, is that it's
Mhm.
never gone. They can
Mhm.
take everything away from you, but you
Yeah.
will always have you.
Yes, and sometimes that brings you to your real purpose, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, and
Mhm.
you don't fear the same. You won't fear the stuff anymore.
No,
It's like, been there, done that. You can't, I've seen what can happen and I've made it through it. you know. Um, the ones that are still in fear haven't gone through that yet.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow, that was good. Um, but what happens? What can you say to that person that right now is feeling really sick and have lost faith and she doesn't
Mhm.
understand? Like breast cancer touches me a lot because I was this weekend also in a retreat from meditation, and there was so many women
Yeah.
going through that experience.
Yes, and that is, and that happens a lot. And if we can just get to, well, first of all, like I said, the body is talking to you because somebody with cancer, there's a lot of stuff going on. So if I'd like to step up on it gradually, let's adopt a first base of thinking, and then we'll get to that one
Mhm,
because that can be a lot, and somebody might just go, forget it, I'm going to cancel the whole thing because I don't. That makes no sense to me.
mhm.
But if we understand, like I said, our guides are talking to us all the time, all the time. I mean, I love how they came through. They said this is how they said constantly, constantly. We are constantly talking to you. And which is really weird. I thought that's interesting, that tone of voice. But then I did an interview with someone else who was he has all this work with his guides, and he did the same thing. He said they are constantly talking. I'm like, gosh, so that's always confirmation,
Mhm.
but anyway, that was just really cool. That's the side note here. But and they talk to us through all these different things. Like we can have, like people come up to us and say something to us that is the same thing. One, they're constantly talking to us, but we don't believe it. Remember, we don't believe that they can do that. So we have other ways that they have other ways to communicate with us. So there might be other people coming to us. It might be a book falls out in front of us and has some information. It might be something
Oh
on
my gosh.
TV or the radio or the internet or whatever. All these different ways that messages appear, signs, whatever, all these different ways that we get messages, right? That's them talking to us.
Yes. Can I share a message that you won't believe
Yeah.
it came
Okay.
to me?
Hmm.
So I go on a wellness center, and one day I found a book of Dolores Cannon
Hmm.
right there. No one has asked for the book. It was between life and death.
Okay.
That was a message, and it has to be Dolores Cannon. And that was the time that I was wondering if I should go, like doing QHD or no.
Uh-huh.
And boom, like what you just said, a
Yeah.
book. There is so many
They
messages
just
that can come.
Yeah, they just appear. They fall. Some people have them fall off of shelves, and just in front of them. It's like this is the one. Trust it. I mean, that's your guides communicating with you there. So
I know.
um but that's where, okay, so we have all of that happening. It's all there for us if we will just be aware. Okay,
Mhm.
but let's say we don't believe any of that. It's like, no, I don't know nothing. I don't acknowledge any of it. Then that's where I said they'll go to the next thing. That's why I call the path of last resort is the body, because
Mhm.
and the best way to communicate, or the best way to get your attention with the body, is with pain. Right? You'll listen to pain, that gets your attention, and you'll
Mm.
go do something. Now, usually we'll go take something, or we'll go to the doctor, we'll do something. But the thing is it got your attention. That
Yes.
was the first objective. It got you to get out of whatever thing you
Mhm.
were thinking, and it's like, oh gosh, there's something going on here. Yes, I need to pay attention. Okay. Now, what will happen is if we do not get the message that it's trying to deliver, it will keep on going until we understand the message and act on it. Okay. So if we are going over here and doing all these therapies and these treatments and cutting it out and doing
Mhm.
things, but not ever heeding the message, not ever getting the advice that we're needing from it and acting on that, it will still be there. And see, and that's why we have situations where people, they do all the things, they're doing everything that the doctors are telling them to do or that they should be doing, but it's still there, it still comes back, whatever. And it's because
Mhm.
we have not listened, we have not gotten the message, you haven't adhered to it, you haven't listened to it, gotten the message, done whatever it wanted. There's something
Mhm.
there that you've got to do. It's trying to deliver a message. I look
Mhm.
at like the postman, he's trying to get a letter to you. His job is just deliver the letter, deliver the
Mhm.
letter. If you do not acknowledge that there's a letter there, he's going to keep trying, and he's going to
Mhm.
get more persistent. So see, it's going to get louder. It's going to get more persistent. It's going to be, he's may make a lot of noise to get your attention to deliver that message. And that's what your body is doing. It's just trying to get louder. That's why I say sometimes that it's yelling at you. It's just getting louder. The diagnosis, yelling means the diagnosis is getting more severe. It's getting bigger, bigger. It's yelling at you. It's trying to get your attention. What happens when we finally sometimes remember that surrender moment, like I was saying, when everything's gone, you sometimes we go, I give up. What?
Yeah.
See, that's the question. What? You know, and that's with this too. We get to a point, it's like, what?
Mm.
We just
Mm.
see we dropped everything at that
Mm.
point. Allowed it, we're letting it to communicate. And that's we want that point of surrender.
Mhm.
Because we're always blocking. That's just what we do. Our conscious mind, our egos, whatever. We just have the tendency to do that. I can't hear anything, nothing, blah, blah, blah. And if we would just say, what do you want me to know? What are you trying to tell
Mm.
me? See, now message is being
Deliver.
delivered. Yes.
Woo!
I acknowledge that there's a message there.
Mm.
Now I want to know what the message is. See, now you're getting into it. And it's really cool because the body can just tell you what the message is. And
Mhm.
it will. And that's where with the book and the course and everything, we can talk about exactly, we give guidelines. And that's what
Mhm.
Louise Hay was doing too. She had some parts in there. It's like, well, this is tends to be this, it was a new, I love Louise Hay because she started this. I mean,
Mhm.
it was really new thought back there. It was like mind blowing that this was a possibility. And
Mm.
that's why I feel like I'm standing on her shoulders because I'm just taking it further. I just
Mm.
took it where my guides told me to go because I kept thinking, well, why do I need to write this if all these other people have done this? And they said they haven't done, they
Mhm.
said the process, but I love that
Yeah.
you said
Yeah.
you have this, you've expanded. So maybe that's what they were talking
Yeah.
about. I
Yeah.
just followed my guide, what they told me to do, and I just did it. And there we go.
No, but that was beautiful for me because I know the work of Louise Hay for many many years, but I found in your book an extension in the way that today I think because I also did past life regressions like 30
Okay.
years ago,
Hmm.
but same because when I did that it was only past life regressions, and when
Hmm.
I did it again when my life fall again 30 years later, I said, oh, the best that I did, it was past life regression. So I went back hoping I was gonna go to a past life regression, but no, I went somewhere
Hmm.
else, right? And star family, elf rounds,
Hmm.
everywhere. And I had some resistance because I was like, that's not what I remember, right?
Yeah.
That's not how it was. But then, I start like opening and listening to the recording, like you said, listen it many times. And then you
Right.
start really listening what was meant to tell you.
Hmm.
And I felt like today there is an expansion on the knowledge, right? And that was reflected in how QHHD is now. It's not just past life regression, but also in your book, that is not just okay, certain parts of your body mean something, but
Hmm.
it's like how we can communicate and really get the message.
Yes.
And but
Well,
why?
I mean, that's fundamental. You have to understand the message and act on it, or it's going to stay. It won't go away until you start acting on it. You have to understand it to act on it. So, see, you have to follow through.
But I think in Louise Hay, it was still like you get these affirmations, right, that are more general.
Mhm.
You are telling us,
Mhm.
ask direct to your
I'm going to
helpers,
get the message. Get
right?
it.
They are
Yeah, there's
talking
no
to you
guessing.
now.
Hmm.
But why is that happening now? Are we really in a shift? What is the shift? What do you know about fifth dimension? Do we need to heal our bodies to be able to get there?
We need to, it's not so much heal the body. Remember, the body's only doing that because it's trying to deliver messages. So it's not so much that we have to heal our bodies. Our bodies will automatically heal once we understand the message and we act on it. They're just delivering messages. And that's the first part. We have to understand what this is all about. It's just messages being delivered. It's not about doing some great big move to heal the body. It's
Oh,
just receiving the message, understanding the message, acting on the message. The body will take care of itself. It will heal. We
oh,
don't have to do, we only do our part of getting the message, understanding it, and acting on it. That's it. See, it's so simple. And that's where, and that was the other thing is it's got to be simple. The universe is always simple. When you see things getting complicated, that's man getting in the middle of there going, oh, let's make it really like you've got to be really smart to do this or something.
Mm.
It's all very simple. It's just the understanding that this is all it is.
Mhm.
Don't make it more complicated than that.
Do you
Okay.
have any like amazing experience during QHD regressions that people really got the symptoms out? Will you share some of them with us?
Well, I mean, gosh, we see this all the time, and that's where I was going to. We could go back to like your friend with the breast cancer. I mean, that comes up a lot, and it's taken care
Mm.
of all the time, just because the message was received and acted on. So here, if we can go to, the body parts where something is, it's really interesting. I was actually criticized one time about my book. Oh, it's just a lot of slang and stuff like that. But this is how the body it uses these body parts and kind of slang terms that we have. I mean, where did those come from? They're slang or they're age old
Mhm.
whatever sayings that makes so much sense because a lot of times that's the message. It's giving us a guidance. So as an example, let me think of something right off the top of my head. Oh, this is not a good one. I'll work into that one. But let's say something, your neck and shoulders. Your if that's bothering you, if there's something going on there, what that part does, in our lives is we carry things there. It's like so when we see things happening there, so usually you're carrying a lot of responsibility, a heavy load or something. And so that's where it's like it's not physical, it's
The
you know
responsibility. Mhm.
it's like it's a responsibility usually and tends to be that we think we have to carry it all. And usually what the message will be is you're carrying a heavy load and you feel like you cannot delegate. Like usually the message is you have lots of people to support you,
Mm.
but we don't delegate. And it's trying to
Oh, wow.
tell us to delegate and
Mhm.
let others help us. And that tends to be what that is. But see how that's
Mhm.
it's that body
Exactly.
part. It's giving us an indication of what it's about. Um, I guess this is what came in. So I'll just go ahead and say this term, which is one of the things. It's a great way. This is how this works, guys. Um, but let's say like something like a hemorrhoid. And a hemorrhoid is going to be in your backside, right? So,
Yes.
and that literally, I mean, what is a hemorrhoid? It's a pain in your
Yeah.
backside, right? Okay. And literally, that is the message. Something is being a pain in your butt,
Mhm.
and it's stuff like that. It's so simple. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, that can't be that simple. And that tends to be the conscious mind or ego resistance. It can't be that simple, but it is that simple. Where
Mhm.
did this stuff come from?
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. These terms that we use, I think, we've always known this. We just, where do those come from?
Mhm.
Trust that information. Okay. So, anyway, that gives us a clue. That's
Mhm.
just a clue. And then we can go further to get the exact message. But usually, just by saying something like that, people know, I know exactly what it is. So that's telling you what it's about. And
Mhm.
then you can ask further to say, okay, so what is it you're trying to tell me about it?
Mhm.
And then that's the rest of it. Now, now I'd like to go ahead and step it into the cancer because
Mhm.
I feel like I've given enough of a background here to make that make a little more sense. But cancer is always anger. It's
Mhm.
suppressed anger, and it's been held in for so long. It's just churned and churned and churned, and it not able to be released. It's something it's usually people that just won't release. They just won't talk about it. They just, it's they just hold it in. And that's the weird thing is they seem to be very happy people because they hold it in so well. Remember, they're holding it in, holding it and holding it in. And that's what we call it suppressed anger. And so that's where it's needing to come out. It needs to be released. It's natural and it's okay to have anger as an emotion. We have emotions. That's
Mhm.
why we're here. We want to experience emotions, but
Yes.
the majority of us, me included, we're kind of afraid of our anger selves. That
Mhm.
can be scary, and so that part of us, oh, I can't show that I'm a good person. I'm a nice person. I can't can't be angry. It's not okay. What I think, women, we were taught women don't get angry,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know. Yeah, women don't get angry. So see how that makes sense that we might have prevalence of
Mhm.
anger issues with
Development.
women,
Uh-huh.
where you
Oh,
can't be angry, so we have to hold it
that's so
in.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's number one. Number two, where the cancer is
Mhm.
telling you they're angry about.
Oh. So
Okay, see,
for
that's when it's all
instance,
pinpointed. Now we look at, like I said, we look at each body part, and that gives you clues. Like we're saying, the neck and the shoulders, you carry loads there. The legs have to do with walking on your path, right? It's like, though it's very simple. The eyes are your, what are you wanting to see? Your ears, you
Mhm.
use them to hear. Your arms, you use to embrace or to hold. Your hands are holding. See, you look at the body parts and the organs, all of that, to see, what is it, its primary function, and that's giving you a clue. The breasts are about nurturing. Okay,
Mhm.
women nurture with their breasts, right? And
Yes.
so if it's with the breasts, then their anger, either they were not nurtured when they were a child, or something has happened, maybe it just something happened in the nurturing department, either when they were a child or when they were a mother or trying to nurture. Something is off there, and that's what they're angry about, whether they'll admit it to themselves or not.
Ooh,
Okay.
wow.
Remember, it's buried deep. It's buried really deep.
Yeah.
So that's just where a lot of talking, but they can, you've got to get it out. You've got to get it out. But you just talk to it. You can talk to the cancer. You can talk to the breasts. You can talk to the whatever ailment you have. You can talk to it. You can talk to the body part that's having it. Or you can just say, okay, this is from my guides. They're trying to talk to me, so talk to your guides. Whatever makes sense to you, and you just ask them, what are you trying to tell me? What do you want me to know? That starts the ball rolling, and then you just be open and allow the very first thing that comes in, just allow it to start.
Mhm.
And it might come through, like we're saying, the other ways. It might be in a dream. It might be somebody comes up and says something to you. It might be a book falls on the floor again, or whatever, or it just appears in front of you. Be aware that there will be communication. And I'm telling you, you can just hear it too. And it's okay. You'll hear it in your
Mhm.
mind.
And it can be really like as easy because I know there is people that has healed for amazing things in one QHHT
Mhm.
session,
Absolutely. Yes,
because
because they get that information. It's immediately told them this is what it's all about. And then
Mhm.
it's released right there in the session. It's like, okay, well, this is it. All right, they understand it now. We can let it go. That's not a situation. See, remember, it's just get the information, get the message, and then get what's supposed to be happening now. It can be cleared right there. But usually what will happen is somebody say, well, it didn't stick. Well,
Mhm.
it's because they went back to the lifestyle, the thought process, or something that they were doing before. And I think
Mhm.
there's an old saying that, oh shoot, how does this work? You can't, well, it basically what it's trying to say is that you can't go back, you can't have a new life based on, or anything new based on the old thinking and the old lifestyle
Mhm.
that you had. You have to, the old thought patterns, everything has to be different to support the new body, the new
Mhm.
life, everything. You don't live anything new on the old stuff. You have to have new
Mhm.
thoughts, new, does that make sense? It's all of
Totally.
that it's creating. So it's like you have to shift you. And that's
Mhm.
what happens in a session. You are being shown what needs to change. You are being shown what this is trying to tell you, and then what needs to change. And it will change immediately right there, because you see it in this beautiful perspective. And it's like, oh,
Mhm.
that makes so much sense. And so it's immediately can be taken away. It's gone. But if you go back to the same thought patterns, the same lifestyle, everything, whatever it was that needed to be changed, and you don't do what it was being said had to be done, then it will come back, because that's what, remember, it's a message. It goes, see, it's
Mhm.
still a message. It's like, you can't do this. You gotta
Mhm.
shift. And so that's where you look
Mhm.
at that. And that's why we say, listen to the recording over and over and over again, because it's reminding you all the time. It's rewiring
Mhm.
what thoughts you are thinking. Um, so do that for yourself.
That is so
Absolutely.
cool. Yes, because the recordings, right? So I have one session that I was listening like many times when I wake up, always, and I will put it like any part, right? After a while.
Yeah.
so to see what is coming. And I had this recording that I hear like 10 times,
Mhm.
but in the 11, I hear something that I never hear before.
Isn't that amazing? Yes.
Wow, but it's because you get ready,
Yeah.
right? You are ready to
You're ready for
listen.
that material now. Yeah, it's like it's in layers.
Mhm.
And I've heard that so many times. You'll hear something different several different times. So it's like you got that layer, now you're ready for the next layer. You're ready. It's amazing.
No,
You
it
know,
is.
it's like, and logically you're like, well, no, that can't happen, but it does.
It does.
It
It does. No,
does. Mhm.
it's very magical. Ooh, so we have to listen. That's what we're learning today. We have to listen. They are always talking to us. And who are they?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what saying it can be it's your guides. It sometimes it's easier to just think it's my guides. I've been told to just call them the guidance team because there's like it can be several guides, it can be your higher self, it can be many parts of you. So it's all of the above, your angels, whatever you want it to be, whatever you see as giving you guidance, you know. So because most everybody believes in a guide or a guardian angel. So you can look at it as that it's but they just said they told me just to call them a team. They're the guidance team. You know, I don't need any more information than that. You know, it's like they got my side, they got my back, they're helping me. That helps. That works for me. And they're always right there to help anytime I need it. So they're just know that you're never alone. You always have guides with
Oh,
you, and then your higher self is always there too. So it's like that's what I'm saying. It can be all of the above. Yeah.
mhm. And
Um, you
how do
wanna
you
put a face to it, a name to it, that's up to you, you know, but they don't have their energy. So, you know,
and
just know they're there.
how you reconcile that with religion? Like for people that is religious, why they will not think that that's something that is not, good or something? Like, are we reconciling? Like, do we have a reconciliation with religion, or are we doing something else? Is separate? Like, I'm trying to.
No, no, it's whatever you believe. That's what I'm
Mhm,
saying. If you believe in these, I mean, it could be whatever, but I think most everyone believes in something,
mhm,
you know, at least a guardian angel, something, you know, that is
mhm,
there, that's bigger than them, that is helping them. Or God, you know, whatever you want to put on it, it's whatever works for you.
mhm.
It's like I said, they just said, call us a guidance team, you know. And there's even like when we talked to that higher part in sessions, I mean, when we were in the beginning, when mom didn't know what to call it, you know, Dolores Cannon didn't know what to call it. And so she just called it subconscious. She had no idea. This is way back because it's like we didn't understand then what we know now about all the different parts to ourselves and everything. But she called it that. And then in classes, sometimes they'd get into a debate about what to call it and everything. And they came through and in fact I heard them too, and then she got it confirmed in a session. They're like, we don't care what you call us. On mine it said you can call us George for all we care. We don't care. We don't have a name, but just call us whatever you just call us, you know, kind of thing. We're here for you. Their frequency, their energy, you know,
But
which we
they
all are.
they
It's
need to
we
be
all are their
called,
core.
right? They
Yeah,
need to
they
be
need to be
asked
called.
because they
Right.
cannot
Yeah.
interfere unless we ask for help,
Mhm.
correct?
Exactly. That's where they're communicating, you know, but it's our free will whether to listen or not. They're communicating, but they can't push it on us. They can just and you might say, well, hey, you're using the body. This is an agreement we made before coming in. We made an agreement with our guides.
Mhm,
You know, they say, I'm going to be alone. You know, they're like, you're going to forget that you even have all of this. You have this
mhm,
whole system over here. And and all we can communicate with you and we can
mhm,
help guide you. That's what we're here for. We
mhm,
can't make anything happen for you unless you ask. You have to ask us for assistance,
mhm.
but we will be talking to you all the time and guiding you. That's why they're called guides. And but where were we going with that? Shoot, I
That
just
we need
lost.
to ask for help. And
Yes, you need to
because
ask. Yeah, they're there and they're using the body. You know, that's just because the agreement that we made to be guided. And remember, they've got to get their message through. They're just trying to guide us. And if we're not listening to anything else, then they're going to go to the body. And see, this is why that persistence is there. This is
Mhm.
why it's done that way. It's like, why don't they just leave us alone? Well, this is an agreement we made with them. I
Mhm.
need you to
Mhm.
get me back on track. If I get off track, you need to help me here, so that's
Mhm.
something we already set up. So this is where they're coming in now, but we have to, if we want their assistance in anything else, like, they'll help us with anything.
Mhm.
This is something that we came in with a guidance. It's like, we're going to guide you on your path. This is what you wanted to do, and this is where they're communicating that. But anything we want, we can ask. We have to ask. They won't just come in and say, oh, here we go, this is what you need to do next. It's not like that.
Mhm.
You have to ask, I need your help with this, can you please help, whatever. Then they'll jump right in, but they have to be asked.
Um, Being who you are and the job that you are doing, do you feel a little pressure for all the work, all the expansion? Because it was like Dolores came with something so beautiful, but it came to you to really expand it in a second stage, practically, right?
Right. um the biggest Yeah, it was just do it justice, just to keep it going. That's kind of like, I feel like that's my part. The biggest thing where I felt pressure was in the beginning when people, and quite innocently,
Yeah.
but and probably some of me too, they kept saying, you've got to fill your mother's shoes, you got to step right in, and you got to be her. And it was like a pressure to be her. And I'm like, I can't be her. I was with her, and I can, I know what she did, and I know this, but I cannot be her. And that's where I was in pressure for myself, was trying to do that. Then I just realized, and for a while, I didn't know who I was. I was really having an identity issue because of that. Am I her? Am I me? Where does this, one stop and the other begin? And um, but once I gave myself permission to be me, and
Mhm.
then establish, who I am within all this, and then it's just growing it. Then that's how I honor her. So it's an honoring, and by growing and expanding, and not let it die.
And
So if
honoring
there's any
yourself,
pressure, it's to
right?
not let it die.
Yeah. But it's also honoring yourself and your soul purpose, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's got to be why I'm here. I mean, it was clear when I was working with her. I mean, at first we had stuff to work out, but then it went into this. We definitely made an agreement to do
Oh,
this together, and then it shifted into, this is a mission. This is why I'm here
yes.
thing. So definitely, yeah, it's honoring her, but then it's also why I'm here.
Yeah. And honoring all of us that came
Oh,
after, right?
yeah,
And that
absolutely.
to do the
Well,
space for.
it's honoring all of you, and you're all honoring her as well. I mean, we all do this together. So it's not just one person. It's just, I happen to be the one in this position, but we're all doing this.
Yeah.
Without you, it wouldn't be here either. So see, it's just,
So going back a little to the shift that we are experiencing in the world,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
How do you see that? What you have here from the other side? Are we really getting into a new earth? How you understand that is
Yeah. What they have, okay. 'Cause everybody's like, when's it going to happen? I don't, we're going to be plucked out of here and taken to a new world or whatever. What's going to happen? In 2011,
Mhm.
2011 is when I got this message.
Oh
And
wow.
they said, it's already done. It's already done. You're already here. And it's like,
Ooh.
what? We don't see anything. They said, you will see it when you believe it. And that's how it's been. Yeah.
Wow.
We've always been here. Since 2011, it had already shifted.
Mhm.
Um, and then it's just a matter of when we believe it. See, so it's just, if you keep going, well, nothing's changed. It's like everything else. I don't hear them. I don't hear them. You're not going to hear them.
Mhm.
Nothing has changed. Everything's the same. Look at all the horrible stuff going on. If that's what you're focusing on, then that's what you're going to get. And that's the world that we are. To me, that's the biggest way of knowing that we've shifted, is where do you put your focus? That is your world. We are the manifestors, we are the creators, and it's really obvious now.
Mhm.
That's the shift. Um, and you're going to create, and many of us are creating out of habit. because it
Mhm.
looks so similar. We're just still making the same world that's been there all this time, going, nothing's happened. See, I'm waiting for somebody to come rescue me onto this other. It's like you've got to rescue yourself by believing that it's already done and choosing what you want to focus on because that's the world that you're creating. You know,
Wow.
you're creating already. How about create what you want?
Ooh,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah, you've
So,
got the power.
yes, so then the place is already here and it's our mindset where we are focusing on,
Yeah, it's a
right?
frequency. It's a dimension, it's here. And so we are always
Mhm.
shifting, up and down, up and down. We're moving frequencies and dimensions all the time. So we're in and out of it. So that's why sometimes you'll get glimpses of it. And it'd be like that beautiful, blissful moment or thing there, you're there. And then something happens and oh, drama. Okay, we got back, we came back down a little bit. The thing is we'll gradually get to where we're more consistently there because it's what we know is our reality now. Right now, it has to be like, oh, I have to do something. I have to get in this beautiful state or something. And then I experience it because my frequency is there. But it'll gradually, like I said, as you believe
Mhm.
that that is your earth, that is your world, see, then it naturally, your vibration naturally holds up longer and you see it. And you'll
Mhm.
just gradually just be there all the time. And it won't be a stretch of the imagination to believe it.
Mhm.
But just if you will just believe
Mm.
and then you choose the things that support it,
Mhm.
just choose what you want to watch, choose what you want to listen to, choose the people in your world, just choose the things that support your view of what that would be or what that world would be. So
Mhm.
you're creating it
Mhm.
by doing that.
And
We are the
also,
creators.
mhm. Oof. But
Hmm.
also we have to face all our or the things that we need to let go, right? Because we have really to let go of people, let go all the
Now, well, it's just, yeah, you'll be shown. I mean, they'll just naturally drop out. See, as you pick, you're the vibration and you're going, okay, this is
Mhm.
what you're choosing these certain things, and then some things won't appeal to you. And that's where it can be like, oh, when I'm here, I don't
Mhm.
feel it feels yucky. And so
Ooh.
I like this feeling better. I'm gonna stay over here in this vibration or with these people, they feel better.
Mhm.
These others might just drop off your radar. You might still be aware of them, but they won't be around you. You don't care for how you feel, or they don't care for how they feel. It's like it doesn't jive anymore. So you'll just see people and things just naturally fall out of your life. You get new people and new things. It's just you'll just notice this probably over the last 10 years, probably a little more when mom was first talking about it. You've probably seen a lot of that. Worlds have shifted, as far as the people in your environment, the ones in your world,
Mhm.
um, and the whole COVID part, that was like a really focused time that we went through a lot. If you notice a lot, things changed right there.
Yeah, and but I can see what you said in COVID.
Mhm,
Like first, like I don't watch news, so
mhm.
I didn't know until it gonna affect my life. So then you will find out, right?
Yeah.
But then for some reason I said I am just not gonna connect with it.
Mhm.
And I never got it.
Yeah.
I just for many people it was like the end of the world, but I kept my business open the whole time. I
There
said
you
if
go.
somebody's gonna close it, it's gonna come and close it,
Exactly.
right?
And that's how it worked. If you were in fear, it affected you. It did all because it was a fear. It
Yeah.
was really to show us fear and help us understand fear. It's a completely that was what it was all about was fear. And
Yeah.
so if you become, if you're in fear, then it was a really big deal for you. And everything in your world was showing you that. And
Yeah. And
but
there was
you're
two
learning.
yeah, I know two things that were very important for me at that point. It was all the people that always complain about work, right? And like you said, we are such a powerful creators. So
Mhm.
suddenly nobody had work, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
So
we'll change it. Because we see that happens, when people say, "Oh, I lost everything." That's how the universe works, and it just shifts everything around. You're like, "Oh boy, now what?" See, and that was another one. all the okay, what do I have? What do I do now? I mean, that'll really shake you at your core. And that's a big purpose of it is think anything like that. It's to wake us up, and that one will do it. Those natural disasters, um, there's certain things that will just shake us to our core and get us to wake up, get us to realize I've still got me, it's those kind of those big realization moments.
But going back to our beautiful body that
Mhm.
is constantly speaking to us, what do you think we get a body like when we come to
Yeah.
incarnate?
When we come in,
Hmm.
we design it.
Oh.
Yeah, so we can't say much I mean, we designed it. Each one of us designed our own body. So it's like, don't complain about it. You wanted this specific body. That's a big reason that you chose the parents because it gave you the genetic makeup that you wanted to. There's something that you wanted a certain kind of body for, for whatever you're wanting to learn and whatever you're wanting to do. You maybe wanted, I don't know, different skill sets or different look or a different whatever, but it was giving you our parents are also in there because there may be karmic ties and things, but you look at there's a whole lot of things being looked at. And it's like, will this give me what I want, what I need to do XYZ? Because we come in for a purpose. We have
Hmm.
things we want to accomplish. Now, what body will help me with that? So we design the bodies
Hmm.
and yeah. And that's where it's like, okay, be proud of it. You did it. This is what your body is what you asked for. It's what you wanted it to be. The illness is
Hmm.
not. The illness is a message. Let's go back, You didn't design it
Oh.
to the bodies are designed to never be sick, to
Hmm.
never have aches and pains, and to live for hundreds and hundreds of years. Okay,
Hmm.
that's the design. But then we come in and we have belief systems, we have teachings, and we have all these other things coming in that tell us otherwise. And then we have where we get off course and we did messages given to us. So the body's trying to relay that, and it comes through as an illness or an ache or a pain or whatever for the reasons that I've said before. That's what's happening. It's not that we're broken, that anything's wrong. It's that we're just trying to get our messages. Our guidance team is trying to talk to us.
And then I know that there is so many souls that want to
Mhm.
come to this planet, right? Why
Mhm.
do you think it's so fascinating for our souls to come in planet Earth?
Oh,
Why?
because of all the shifting. This is really monumental for a whole planet to shift into another dimension, and that's what it's doing and has done. And for all the people to be see, we're in the middle of it, yeah, it's happened, but we're all in the middle of doing our own shifting with it. And so it was like this huge, I guess, roller coaster ride or something like you could say, like souls wanted to say, I was there. I was there when it happened. So we have souls that are watching it happen. And then we have souls that want to be on the ride going through it. So many are standing in line just trying to get in. And they might just come in for a few minutes just to say, I was there. So that's where you might have some where it's a child, they get born and they're just here for a few minutes just to say, I was there, And then we have others of us that are we're here for the long haul. We're a big part of it. We want to be on this side of it. Everybody's choosing where they want to be with it. If you want to be an observer, that might be people that have passed on and said, I can help from the other side, whatever. So yeah, it's like doesn't each
Beautiful.
soul is making their own choices.
I know. I had experience of being in a session and I found my star family.
Ah, nice.
No, it was so funny because I was expecting this deep answer, right? Like
Mhm.
why I am here, right? And what they said was like, don't complain. You wanted to be there, right? You raise your hand. You always do that. We told you not to go. I'm like, are you serious? Right?
It
So
sounded really good when you were over there. I'm like, sure, I'll go.
I know you were raising your, and that was so me because I am that person still in this planet, right? That if I am in a class, like I am the one raising the hand, right?
And then you're going like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
is moments, right? But
Mhm.
in the other side, you do see the beauty, and I think when you have been moved to reconnect with the spiritual part of you and doing spiritual work is is so worth it. When you, like, for me at least, being in the sessions and in those moments that people has these beautiful experiences, is
Mhm.
then everything that you went through, it becomes so small. Like you realize that it is so much bigger than you can ever imagine. And it expands. You sometimes don't think your heart can expand anymore. But then
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you get, like you said, that perspective and then the love. We're always reminded of the love.
yeah.
And then that helps us. I mean, every session is fantastic and exactly what the client needs, but then we all grow so much from each one of them too. So it's mutually beneficial.
No, it's amazing because it's like people has been coming with experiences like they were talking to me
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
so many different areas, different people that you will never imagine, right?
Mhm.
As an example, I was going through something at work and suddenly come this guy that he's going through like really like, and then it's
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, whatever I'm going through, it's like,
Right.
you know?
That happens so much. Um, and that's remember, that's what we do. We choose, this is another way of communicating to ourselves. We, like I said, somebody will come through and say something to us, or I call that mirroring, when they come
Mhm.
in with the same situation we have going on that we need to work out maybe,
Yes.
and but we can't figure it out within ourselves, so we present it to ourselves with somebody else, and
Mhm.
then by helping them work through their stuff, we're helping ourselves. We get the message for ourselves and we go from there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's really cool system, really.
Amazing. What are Julia's plans for the future? Are we writing another book? Do you have a plan?
I get asked that so many times. Well, I get asked, or it's more like, when's the next book coming out? There's
Mhm.
so many people see me writing more books, and I would like to. It just hasn't fleshed out. But we know the first one, I resisted a lot, so I promised I wouldn't do that. But we'll see. There may be more in there. I get impulses sometimes, but then I don't. It doesn't go any further than that. We'll see. Maybe.
And then QHHT, I know is coming, the big reunion. What things
Mhm.
are coming in the
Yes, we're
future?
doing that retreat in Sedona, Arizona. That'll be next month on the Memorial Weekend, so May 23rd to 27th. Really, really cool. So all that information is
Okay.
qhdofficial.com. So yeah, it's so wonderful. And it's just, you don't have to be a QHHT practitioner to go, just be like-minded. If you want to be with like-minded people, I'm not saying you have to be like-minded, but if you want to be with like-minded people and people that love Dolores and QHHT, whatever, it's that'll be a great place and a lot of people.
And are
So
you still doing QHHT one-on-one?
no, I'm not, because of it takes a lot of
Yeah.
energy to do that. And it takes a lot of energy to do the teaching and the company side. So that's where I'm focusing right now, is making sure we have top-notch practitioners.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Do
Like
you
you.
feel do you feel chosen?
Chosen. I feel like I made an agreement.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, not so much. I mean, I don't know the why. I don't know. It was just an agreement. Maybe mom and I have worked together before. I don't know, but it was like, this was an agreement that we chose to work together and do this. Yeah, that's how it feels. It feels like an agreement.
And what will you recommend for people to keep their bodies healthy and happy? What are
Um,
your tips for
just
us?
listen, follow the guidance, follow your guidance, and go with the flow of where it's telling you to go. The body has issues when we resist doing what we are naturally wanting to do, our path that we want to do. So if anything does start happening in the body, just listen and get back in the flow. But if you always listen and stay in the flow, you won't have any issues. So,
And can we really get there
sorry.
to be, can we really get there to be
Absolutely.
always
Yeah.
listening?
Yeah, it just becomes second nature. At first, it might be a stretch. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't hear them. So you have to get from I can't hear them to yes, I can hear them to it's easy to hear them, and I have a conversation with them, and they tell me whatever. So it's like I can. I'm easily working with them all the time. So that's where you just want to get from here to here, and then it's all very simple. And then you'll find all of a sudden it's interesting. I don't get sick anymore. I am
Mhm.
always in health, always good health and stuff. It's because you don't have any. You're listening to them in another way. You don't have to use the body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Julia, for your time with
Thank you.
me and with everybody that is gonna um, listen or watch this. And thank you for that beautiful book.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, for everything
My
you're.
my pleasure.
No, it's
My resistance pleasure.
don't resist too much. We need.
I know, I know. Hey, that's for anybody else who likes to do that. I try not to now, but yeah, that's we'll see. But yeah, it's my pleasure. And if I get any more inclinations for more books, I will do them as best I can.
Yeah.
I'll try not to resist.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for everybody watching. And I hope to see you in Sedona.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. That'd be wonderful.
yes, and we hope to see a lot of people in Sedona vibrating high and
Hmm.
connecting with everything out
Yeah.
there. And yeah, and for the people that is watching, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And I promise I'm gonna bring beautiful people like Julia here, so we all can learn how to shift, how to stay healthy, and how to connect with our higher selves. Thank you so much.